There was nothing else at all in the whole world but football.
Hi guys, Simon from the Triple F here. Hope you're all well and welcome to another episode of the Magic of, where we provide in-depth profiles on clubs from all over the world. We like to cover a whole range of clubs, from those with a rich history to those with new beginnings, massive clubs with international support to smaller clubs with a modest yet equally passionate fan base, and clubs you've most likely heard of to ones you haven't. This episode is focused on FC Copenhagen, a club with historic roots in European football, but one a lot of fans don't know a great deal about. Come with me now as we delve into the history of the beautiful city of Copenhagen itself, the long-storied background of FC Copenhagen, and finish it off with a chat with Dan, who has just recently moved to the city, to see what he has found out so far about his new local team. So without further ado, this is the magic of FC Copenhagen. Copenhagen is the capital and largest city of Denmark. A small village existed on the site of the present city by the early 10th century. In 1167, Bishop Absalon of Roskilde built a castle on an islet off the coast and fortified the town with ramparts and a moat. In 1445, Copenhagen was made the capital of Denmark and the residence of the royal family. During the late 16th century, Copenhagen's trade began to flourish and the city itself expanded. Among the new buildings erected were the Borsen, the Holmens Church, Trinitatis Church with the adjacent famous round tower, and the Castle of Rosenborg, now the Museum of the Royal Family. During the wars with Sweden in 1658 to 1660, Copenhagen was besieged for 2 years. Fires in 1728 and 1795 destroyed many houses and buildings, and in 1807 the city was bombarded by the British. The ramparts were pulled down in 1856. Located at Langelini Pier is the Little Mermaid statue, which is based on a story by Hans Christian Andersen. A Danish national symbol, it is one of the city's most popular tourist attractions. For much of the 20th century, Copenhagen and its surrounding areas contained most of Denmark's manufacturing industry. By 2000, however, the city's economy was dominated by public and private services, trade, finance and education. A number of arterial streets carry traffic toward the centre across the harbour bridges. There are electric railways for commuters and a network of city bus lines. The last streetcars disappeared in 1972. In the late 1990s, construction began on a fully automated subway system in Copenhagen, and the first line opened in 2002. In 2000, the Øresund link, a combined tunnel and a bridge system connecting Copenhagen with Malmö, Sweden, opened. It also serves Copenhagen Airport at Kastrup and supports cooperation and regional growth on both sides of Øresund. Football Club Copenhagen is in many ways both an old and a new club. Even though the club was established in 1992, it is rooted in more than 100 years of club tradition. The club's first team represents two separate clubs: Copenhagen's Bold Club, continental Europe's oldest football club founded in 1876, and Bold Club in 1903. founded obviously in 1903. The two Copenhagen clubs merged their first teams to found Copenhagen on the 1st of July 1992. Copenhagen used Boldklubben's club license to play in the Danish Superliga Championship, while Copenhagen's Boldklub became the official reserve team of the club. With the rebuilding of the Parken Stadium, Denmark's national team stadium, the new club had a modern stadium to play at from the beginning. The initial ambition of the club was to continually qualify for one of the European competitions each season. To reach this goal, the club needed a solid economy, a relatively big fan base, and an attractive and positive style of football. Benny Johansen managed the club and started its maiden season well. FCK made its first appearance in the European tournaments when it beat Swiss team Grasshoppers 2-1 in the 1992 UEFA Intertoto Cup. FCK won the Intertoto Cup that year and thereby qualified for the UEFA Cup, where it was eliminated in the second round by French team Auxerre. The club won the 1992-93 Superliga season 1 point ahead of Odense Boldklub and 2 points ahead of third place Brøndby. For the 93-94 Superliga season, expectations were high. However, the season opened with a 6-0 thrashing at the hands of Italian team Milan in the 93-94 Champions League qualification. FCK went on a winter break after the first half of the Superliga season in third place. In the spring of 1994, Copenhagen gained on leading team Silkeborg IF. In the penultimate match of the season, the two teams met at the Parken Stadium. In front of a record-setting attendance of 26,679, FCK won the match 4-1. The club was 1 point ahead of Silkeborg, but because FCK lost 3-2 to Odense in the final game of the season, it had to settle for second place. For the next 3 seasons, Copenhagen had little success in the Superliga, despite winning 2 Danish Cups. The team won the 1995 Cup final against Akademisk Boldklub with a 5-0 win, qualifying for European football once again, despite mediocre results in the league. Kim Brink took over as manager in 1996, but despite winning the second cup trophy for the club, the 8th place finish in the 96-97 Superliga season prompted another change in managers. The self-acclaimed best manager in Denmark, Christian Andersen, began managing the club in January 99. After 75 controversial days, however, he was fired in March 99. Sports director Niels Christian Holmström explained Andersen had created frustration among the players. In 1999, Copenhagen made its impact in Europe when it faced English side Chelsea in the second round UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. In the first leg away at Stamford Bridge, Bjarne Goldbæk gave Copenhagen the lead 9 minutes before the end of the match, but Chelsea scored in the last minute of the game. Chelsea later won the second game at Parken with a goal by the Dane Brian Laudrup knocking out FCK. At the post-match press conference, it was announced that Chelsea's Brian Laudrup was signing with Copenhagen later that year, with Bjarne Goldbæk moving in the other direction for Chelsea. A 4-time Danish Player of the Year award winner, Laudrup, however, could not help Copenhagen improve their league position, and the club ended the year in 7th in the 98-99 Superliga season. Laudrup only stayed for just 6 months at the club before signing for Ajax at the end of the year. In the 99-2000 season, FC Copenhagen struggled to make any significant impact and finished 8th in the league. In the 2000 January transfer window, South African striker Sibusiso Zuma was signed from South African side Orlando Pirates, and in May 2000, Roy Hodgson became the new manager. From the 2001 season, the club started to improve. The club won its second Superliga championship, winning 3-1 in the last Copenhagen derby match of the season at the Parken Stadium. The 2-0 goal was a bicycle kick by Zuma, who received the ball at his chest, bounced it in the air, and in the same motion executed the overhead kick, volleying the ball into the far corner. This was later voted the Danish goal of the year and was voted the best Superliga goal of the decade in 2009. And in 2013 it was voted as the greatest moment in the history of FCK. Roy Hodgson broke his contract with Copenhagen a few weeks after having won the championship, signing with Italian team Udinese, and he was replaced by the Swede Kent Carlson. The 2001 season is also remembered for a highly dramatic event. During training on the 13th of March 2001, charismatic midfielder Ståle Solbakken suffered a heart attack. He he was rapidly attended to by club doctor Frank Odgaard, who found that his heart had stopped beating and started to administer cardiac massage. Upon the ambulance's arrival, Solbakken was pronounced clinically dead at the scene, but on the way to the hospital in the ambulance, he was revived nearly 7 minutes later. He survived the episode and had a pacemaker fitted. Shortly after, on medical advice, he announced his playing retirement, but would later return to the club and become its most successful manager. Copenhagen faced Italian team Lazio for qualification to the 2001-02 Champions League. A 2-1 win for FCK in the first game proved moot, as Lazio ultimately progressed with a 5-3 aggregate score. Copenhagen thus entered the 2001-02 UEFA Cup, where it defeated Dutch giants Ajax 1-0 on a goal from left-back Niklas Jensen. In the next round, however, German team Borussia Dortmund eliminated Copenhagen. The 2001-02 Superliga season also ended in disappointment for Copenhagen, as Brøndby won the championship on goal difference after FCK had caught up with Brøndby's 10-point lead after the first half of the season. In the second last round of the 2002-03 Superliga season, FCK faced Brøndby at Brøndby Stadium. In extra time, Hjolte Nørregaard scored his first goal for Copenhagen and brought the championship back to Parken. In the Champions League's second qualifying round in 2004-05, FCK won the first match against Slovenian club ND Gorica 2-1, but later lost at Parken 5-0. Copenhagen went on to win the 2004 and 06 Danish Championships and the 2004 Danish Cup. Copenhagen also won the inaugural 2004-05 edition of the Royal League tournament, beating Swedish team IFK Göteborg on penalty shootout in the 2005 final. Copenhagen repeated the achievement in the 2006 edition of the tournament, this time beating Norwegian team Lillestrøm 1-0 in the 2006 final. And in December 2005, former Copenhagen player, you remember the guy, Ståle Solbakken, took over as manager. For the 2006-07 season, Danish national team player Jesper Grønkjær reinforced Copenhagen. FCK looked forward to the 2006-07 Champions League qualifiers, where it beat Ajax. For the first time in the club's history, FCK entered the group stage of the Champions League, being grouped with Celtic, Benfica and Manchester United, all former winners of the trophy. Despite not losing a game at Parken, FCK failed to qualify from the Champions League group stage after losing all of its away games. On the 9th of May, Copenhagen defeated Brøndby 1-0 and won its 5th Danish championship in 7 years with 4 games to spare in the league. In the 2007-08 season, Copenhagen lost the 3rd qualification round of the Champions League with a 3-1 aggregate score to Benfica. After beating Lyon 3-2, FCK qualified for the group stages of the 2007-08 UEFA Cup, where it played Panathinaikos, Lokomotiv Moscow, Atletico Madrid and Aberdeen. Copenhagen fell to Panathinaikos and Atletico, but a win against Lokomotiv meant that the club needed only a draw against Aberdeen to qualify for the next round. However, a 4-0 defeat to Aberdeen put them out of the tournament. In the 2007-08 Superliga season, Copenhagen finished 3rd, with AAB taking the title. In the 2008-09 season, Copenhagen began strong. The team qualified for the UEFA Cup group stage by eliminating Northern Ireland club Cliftonville, Lillestrøm and FC Moscow. In the group, FCK lost at home to St Etienne and drew 1-1 against Valencia. With a 1-1 draw against Rosenborg and a win over Club Brugge, Copenhagen qualified for the knockout phase of the competition, where it drew 2-2 in the first leg of the round of 32 against Manchester City on the 19th of February 2009. The club lost 2-1 in the second leg, a loss that ended its European season. In the domestic league, FCK battled for first place with Brøndby and Odense. Eventually, Copenhagen won the cup final against AAB and claimed the league title with one game to spare in the tournament, thus securing the double for the second time in the club's history. 2010 proved to be yet another European success. Even though the team lost the 2009-10 Champions League playoff match to Apoel with a 3-2 aggregate loss, the team had already qualified for the Europa League group stage by eliminating FK Mogren and Stabæk. Copenhagen lost away to CFR Cluj, won 1-0 at home against Sparta Prague, lost 1-0 away to PSV, and by beating Cluj at home 2-0 and 3-0 away over Sparta, Copenhagen qualified for the round of 32 to face Marseille. The matchup, however, resulted in 2 3-1 losses for Copenhagen, thus eliminating them from the competition. The team's qualification to the 2010-11 Champions League was secured after they beat Bate Borisov and Rosenborg. The team thus entered the group stage in Group D and met Barcelona, Panathinaikos and Rubin Kazan. After a 3-1 win against Panathinaikos in their last group stage match, they qualified for the round of 16, thereby becoming the first ever Danish club to reach the knockout stage in the Champions League, unfortunately where Chelsea defeated them. Copenhagen won the 2012-13 Danish Superliga to secure a direct place in the group stage of the Champions League. In the Champions League, the club was placed into Group B alongside Real Madrid, Juventus and Galatasaray. FCK secured 4 points by drawing 1-1 against Juve at home and winning 1-0 over Galatasaray after a great goal by Daniel Bratton. The club, however, conceded its first ever Champions League group stage home defeat after falling 2-0 to Real Madrid in the last round of the group stage. Copenhagen finished the 2013-14 league in second place, despite having been third for numerous weeks. 3-2 away win against FC Midtjylland saw them close in on second place. In the last round of the league, FCK beat Odense Bold Club 3-2 at home, whilst Midtjylland lost their game 3-1, ensuring Copenhagen's seizure of second place and its subsequent spot in the qualifying round of the 2014-15 Champions League. After a busy summer transfer window with numerous new players arriving at the club, Copenhagen was drawn against Ukrainian outfit Dnipro in the third qualifying round of the 2014-15 Champions League. After an aggregate victory of 2-0 over Dnipro, Copenhagen was drawn against German club Bayer Leverkusen in the playoff round. The Germans, however, defeated Copenhagen 7-2 on aggregate, dropping Copenhagen to compete in the Europa League. FCK drew Italian club Torino, Club Bruges and Finnish side HJK Helsinki. The campaign started well, securing a deserved 2-0 victory over HJK at home from 2 goals by Nikolaj Jorgensen. Copenhagen's next 2 games were against Torino and Club Bruges respectively. They lost 1-0 against Torino and drew 1-1 against Bruges after conceding a late goal in injury time in both matches. Copenhagen then failed to secure an important win against Bruges at home, a match they lost 4-0, setting up a must-win situation for FCK against Helsinki to progress to the round of 32. Copenhagen, however, failed. Mukumba Kanji managed to score a 2-1 victory for Helsinki, their second win in the group with another late goal. The result eliminated Copenhagen. The 2014-15 season ended with Copenhagen winning the Danish Cup and finishing second in the Superliga. Check out Under the Floodlights, where guests come on to talk about their favourite players or managers. We have episodes looking back in history and shows also focusing on those playing the game right now. It could be your choice of player that goes under the floodlights. The 2015-16 season began with FCK bringing in 6 new players, most notably Danish international and former AAB player Kasper Kusk. By placing second in 2014-15, Copenhagen began in the second qualifying round of the 2015-16 UEFA Europa League, where they were drawn against Welsh club Newtown, defeating them 5-1 on aggregate to qualify for the next round against Czech outfit Baumit Jablanek. The opening game of the 2015-16 Danish Superliga ended in a 2-1 away win for FCK against Esbjerg FB through goals from Marvin Poirier and Nikolaj Jorgensen. Despite a 1-0 away win over Baumit Jablanek, Copenhagen lost its home game 3-2, resulting in a 3-3 aggregate loss on the away goals rule. This marked the first time in 10 years that Copenhagen failed to qualify for either the Champions League or Europa League. On the 5th of May, the Danish Cup was won after a 2-1 win over AGF with goals from Nikolaj Jorgensen and William Kvist. After winning the title the previous season, Copenhagen would compete in the 2016-17 Champions League qualifiers. In the playoff round, they met Apoel FC and were faced with the challenge on getting revenge after their tie against them in 2009. The first leg at Parken Stadium ended 1-0 to the home team, and in the second leg, Copenhagen equalised in the 86th minute via Federico Santander's shot from a wide angle, qualifying for the group stage with an aggregate score of 2-1. Copenhagen was subsequently placed in a group with Leicester City, FC Porto and Club Brugge. They would, after 2 wins, 1 loss and 3 draws, finish third in their group and move on to the 2016-17 Europa League round of 32, where they met Ludogorets, beating them 2-1 on aggregate. In the round of 16, they met Ajax. In the first leg at home, Copenhagen won 2-1 after a first-minute goal from Rasmus Falk and a goal in the 59th minute by Andreas Cornelius. The away leg finished 2-0 to Ajax, and Copenhagen were knocked out of the tournament, with that season's achievement in the Europa League being their best finish in the competition at the time. Domestically, the season was another season to enjoy for fans of the club. Copenhagen won the league with the closest team, Brøndby, finishing 24 points behind them. At the time they were crowned champions. Following a draw against FC Nordsjælland, they were unbeaten in the league, with their first loss of the season coming against FC Midtjylland. Copenhagen also reached the cup final, where they met arch-rivals Brøndby. Copenhagen opened the scoring via Cornelius' first ever goal against the club, with Brøndby responding just 10 minutes later with an equaliser. Copenhagen secured the win with 2 goals in rapid succession. In the 83rd and 85th minutes, both long balls from defence to attack, scored by Santander and Cornelius respectively, thus resulting in the club from the capital winning their 3rd consecutive cup final, along with their 2nd consecutive domestic double. Winning the 2018-19 Danish Superliga placed Copenhagen in the 2nd qualifying round of the following Champions League campaign, beating Welsh outfit the New Saints FC. The following round against Red Star Belgrade ended 2-2 on aggregate, with Copenhagen going out in penalties, sent them to the UEFA Europa League instead. Here Latvian team Riga were beaten 3-2 on aggregate, meaning qualification for the group stage. Copenhagen finished 2nd in Group B against FC Lugano, Dynamo Kiev and Scandinavian rivals Malmo. Copenhagen were then drawn against Scottish outfit Celtic in the first knockout round of the UEFA Europa League. The first match in Parken finished 1-1, whilst Copenhagen won the return leg 3-1 at Celtic Park. The opponent for the next round were the Turkish club Istanbul Başakşehir. The game ended 1-0 with Copenhagen falling to a late penalty converted by Eden Vishka. The subsequent return match in Copenhagen was temporarily put on hold due to the COVID-19 pandemic. On the 5th of August 2020, Copenhagen won 3-0 over Başakşehir to reach the quarter-finals for the first time in their history. In the quarter-finals, Copenhagen lost 1-0 to Man United with a penalty from Bruno Fernandes coming in after extra time. After poor results in the beginning of the 2020-21 Danish Superliga and failure to qualify for the Europa League, Ståle Solbakken was sacked by the club, and Hjolte Bo Nordegård took over as caretaker manager until Jes Forup was appointed in November 2020. FCK owns its stadium, the National Arena Parken Stadium. It was built in 1992, the same year the club was founded. Until the stadium opened as Parken in September 92, the club played its first home matches at the smaller Østerbro Stadion, which is located adjacent to Parken. Parken has 38,065 seats, 4,000 fewer seats than the original capacity of 42,305. After 2000, the club has regularly attracted one of the highest attendances in Scandinavia. The official fan club FC Copenhagen fan club has more than 20,000 members. FCK FC was founded on 24th of October 1991, approximately half a year before FCK played its first match. Furthermore, there are many unofficial factions connected to Copenhagen, the biggest being Urban Crew, Copenhagen Cooligans and Copenhagen Casuals. These are also reported to have friendships with factions from Hamburger SV, Rangers, IFK Helsinki and Helsingborg's IF. For the 2006-07 season, there were 23,795 spectators on average. For many years, the lower part of the C stand at Parken, Nedre C, has been the main stand for the supporters of FCK. In 2006, a part of the lower B stand was made a separate fan section for the fans who wanted to create more of an atmosphere and named it Section 12. In general, most of FCK supporters are from and they live in the Copenhagen area, unlike their rivals Brøndby IF, who have a reported 57% of their fan base coming from Jutland. So just to conclude, FC Copenhagen are 13 times Danish Superliga champions, have won the Danish FA Cup equivalent, the DBU Pokalen 8 times and the League Cup once. Some of their greatest players include Breda Hangeland, Atiba Hutchinson, Jesper Gronkjaer, Sibusiso Zuma and all-time highest goalscorer Dama Ndoye. And now for my chat with Dan Kirby to find out his thoughts on his new local team, FC Copenhagen.
Yeah, I wanted to find out from you. I don't really know if I got this from text messages we've had between, but yeah, why did you move to Denmark?
Victoria, my fiance, who I don't know whether when we were still working together, I don't know whether I'd met her then, but I can't remember. It's been a while since we worked together.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about
it. But she got a job out here. She works in IT.
Cool.
So she got a job with Pandora, and it made more sense for obviously me to leave the Cineworld gig and and move here with her. So yeah, that's basically why. And secondary, we came out here last year on holiday. Really loved it, and obviously all the Brexit crap was kicking off.
Yeah.
So it was a good excuse to be able to come out here. The idea obviously was that we'd be able to travel Europe a bit easier, but Corona's obviously put a bit of a pause on that. But,
yeah, tell me about it, mate.
But hey,
what's the weather like? So lots of snow.
Yeah, today we've had hail and sun. It's half an hour of hailing, half an hour of sun, and it's been a bit crazy. But generally, it's been all right. Like since we moved here, it's been okay. We had like that hot summer, like everyone did, I think. But winter wasn't so bad. But the main thing here is the wind. There's a very special Copenhagen wind that no matter which way you're going, the wind is always blowing in your face.
Okay.
Even if you then turn around and walk the other way, it will still be in your face.
Follows you.
Yeah, and it's my job is cycling around at the moment. My job is cycling around delivering food.
Yeah,
and with the wind, it's a pain in my ass. But hey.
Yeah, don't talk to me about cycling over here, man, because obviously it's like second nature for them over here. But because everything's so flat, and especially where we are in Groningen, it's like the flattest part of the country. It's like when you're on a bike, the wind is awful.
yeah, it is. There's I mean, it's pretty flat here as well, but there's one neighborhood in particular that has it's a massive hill. And it's actually where the Carlsberg head office is as well.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, to get up there, it's because you're not you're used to cycling flat for ages, and then suddenly you're met with this hill.
Yeah.
Isn't it like by English standards, it's not that big a hill.
Yeah.
but here it's practically a mountain. Like
it just doubles your journey time there, doesn't it? When it's like the wind's against you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the wind's the worst thing.
So FC Copenhagen, actually, how do you pronounce? Because I've seen it like with the K and everything.
Yeah, so obviously Copenhagen is how we say it, but over here it's Copenhagen. Which I mean, yes, hopefully I'm getting that right. I am doing Danish. I am learning Danish.
That's cool, man.
But it's like you were saying with Dutch, it's a bloody hard language to learn.
Yeah.
Is
it similar
Danish
with like? Sorry, is it similar with like the alphabet where is you've more or less got the same letters as the English alphabet, but you pronounce them in a different way?
Yeah. So like, yeah. I mean, it's Germanic, so there's some letters that like H is ho, like and the G instead of G, like it's and then but then with Danish, it's a language of two languages essentially. There's the speaking and the reading.
Yeah.
And the reading, I'm doing okay with the reading because it's words, and you can say it how you think it should be said.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get in a conversation with anyone, a sentence can be 10 words long, and they'll shorten it down to like 3, and you have to work out what's missing and what the context is, and that's when it gets hard.
Yeah.
But so it would be Copenhagen.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that, because I when I first saw it, I thought it was like Copenhagen or something. But
I mean, So you just you sort of mash the end together.
Okay. That's cool. That's a nice bit of education. With Dutch, what confuses me the most is our English our English A is pronounced R, and then the English E is pronounced A, and the English I is pronounced E. So it's like, oh man, it's a real head fuck.
Yeah, there's some letters are very similar, but J is like Yule. Yeah, it's just loads of odd words. But then you've got to imagine that actually this is how the language should have been, and us English folk have come along and changed it to be more. Probably just easier, but
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's how I feel. Like every sort of Dutch person tells me that this was, a language that hasn't really been tinkered with. So I think, like you say, with English, it's probably just a bunch of people trying to sort out.
Yeah, but it's luckily here. Like, I mean, I say luckily, but Danish has evolved. So they're like, in some of my lessons, they're like, oh, well, this is how they'd say it, back in the day and stuff. And it's like, okay, I'm glad they've changed that, because it's just added.
Yeah.
Like it's just more words. Like they've cut it down at least. So it's
definitely. But yeah, so I've done a little bit of research before this podcast, and I found out that FC Copenhagen, they were established in 1903, but they were 2 clubs before that, weren't they? So they merged from Bold Club in 1903, and I'm probably getting this. Copenhagen's Bold Club. Yeah.
So Bold Club just means ball club. Like.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
but yeah. So in 92, they merged. I think KB had tried to become professional before that, but they had issues with funding and other things. I think merging the 2 clubs together became the easiest option.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy actually how young Copenhagen as a club is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both older than FC Copenhagen. It's a bit crazy, but the success they've had.
I just assumed that FC Copenhagen were around forever.
Yeah, I think initially, I mean, similar here. I mean, especially when you look at the infrastructure already, like the Parken, as it is called, or Parken, sorry, which is the national stadium as well in Copenhagen. It's not that big. I mean, I think it's 36,000. I have got it up here somewhere. The 38,000 capacity. So it's not a huge stadium by any means.
Right.
You know, and you compare it to English stadiums, and it's really small, really. But I mean, because it was built in the 90s, it isn't an identikit stadium yet, which is good. Right. Having cycled past it a few times, it's got its own identity. I'd say from the outside, it looks a bit Old Traffordy. You know, similar, like, you know, one big stand and a few others, but it's quite an impressive stadium. It's got a nice park next to it, where they have like festivals and stuff near it as well. So I think they've tried to incorporate a lot around it. But yeah, I mean, that was ready for them when they opened in '92, and I think it did have more capacity back in the day, but you know, with all safety and stuff, slowly the capacity gets eaten away, doesn't it? So it's
I bet you can't wait to get in there for a game.
I know. Well, one of the first things I did when I worked out I was moving here was look at season tickets, and for a season ticket it was 4,500 crowns, which is about 500 quid, which is what I would have paid at Watford. You know, nice cheap, not like your Arsenal season tickets.
No.
I said straight away, I was like, look, I won't be working Saturdays anymore. I want to get a season ticket, and that was the plan. But yeah, obviously then Corona came and again ruined that. But they've recently announced that you can pay 100 crowns, which is about 12 quid, to get a priority ticket, or to get a ticket for when they reopen, which it hasn't been given a date yet. But basically, they're just trying to make sure the first game back is absolutely full.
Yes.
I think that has been a problem for Copenhagen in these last two seasons, like including this one. They've missed the fans. I think because it, you know, even though it isn't, you know, well, 40,000, 38,000, the way the stadium's built, it is still quite, everyone's close.
Yeah.
It's not like far away.
No.
So I think the atmosphere in those home games has been missed for them, especially as over here, and you know, a bit more in Europe as well, you get the ultra scene.
Yeah.
And I think you know, that has absolutely been missed. It's funny because you look at clubs like West Ham, who are probably flying at the moment because they haven't got fans.
Yeah.
You know, I think the fans there obviously give the club a bit of a stick, bit of stick, don't they, and cause a bit of detriment. But yeah, over here I think it's been missed. I mean, you could argue with the away games. I mean, I have got their list, but I haven't looked really. They seem to be okay away. I might be completely wrong, but I think that's because a lot of the stadiums, other than Parken, are quite small here. You know, they're more sort of old athletic track sort of stadiums.
Yeah.
Multi-purpose stadiums. But yeah.
That's cool. Man.
But I'm desperate for 100 crowns. I mean, that's dirt cheap. 10 quid, 12 quid to get a ticket. I really want to do it because I think the atmosphere would be immense.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling your pain because I had a ticket for FC Copenhagen, and I was actually going to go with Dave from SeaWorld. And
Dave.
Yeah,
he loves a European game. He does that.
Yeah, exactly. I think because he now works at, I'm pretty sure he still does, but he works at Luton Airport.
He worked for, it was National Express, wasn't he? I think he used to.
Yeah, so it's perfect for him to, you know, feed his addiction, shall we say, to European football. So
yeah, man,
it's good for him, man. But yeah, no, it was gutting really, because like we had it booked. They were to play ADO Den Haag, and it just would have been. I think it was the last game of the season. Yeah, I was like really looking forward to it. But like you, I think I got an email saying, when it rolls back open, I'll be on the priority list. But yeah, it's just a pain, man. What's
the ticket pricing like over there? Is it
it's good? Like 20-25 quid, I think I paid for a ticket, and they're reasonably well seated as well. So yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty good. Like, especially as I'm an Arsenal fan, like as you spoke about before, like I don't even want to get into how painful it is to pay for tickets.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. Like my season ticket when I was at Watford was, it was behind the goal essentially. It was slightly off to the left, but still, it was close enough. And that was 500 quid for a season ticket.
Wow.
Yeah. When you like, to me, that was like, 500 quid. It's quite a, it's a large amount of money. But then you're like, actually, hang on, take a look on it, and actually compared to other clubs, it's really good pricing. But yeah, here, I mean, bear in mind that season ticket here would include European games as well. 500 quid here, I think it's a steal. Like, I'd happily pay that. Absolutely happily.
Yeah, definitely. But so I mean, let's just talk about how the club is sort of getting on currently, really, and then we'll sort of delve into the past a bit more. But like, how's the whole situation? Did football start up fairly recently? What's going on?
No, so the Danish league starts a bit earlier than others, although this season it didn't start until September. So it's but that was because of the knock-on of last season being affected. For a bit, they had fans and stuff here as well. I think 500 fans was the capacity. And some clubs like Aarhus in the north, they had people parking outside their games when they had the big screen TVs. But yeah, I mean, last season was not good for Copenhagen. I can't remember where I've written it here, but they didn't finish well at all for them. When you look at past how well they have done.
Where did they finish it?
Okay, yeah, so they actually finished second last year, but it was 14 points behind Midtjylland, who we know from their tie. They're quite close to Brentford. I think they've got similar teams. I can't remember what the link is exactly, but I think it's the same sort of managing team.
Is it like a sort of Man City, New York City kind of like setup?
Yeah, it's not the same as like a Watford Udinese, I don't think, but I think they're very similar. There is quite a few Danish players in Brentford now.
And the manager's Danish, though, isn't he? Brentford.
Falk. He is. Yeah. But they've been using their ties quite well. But yeah, Copenhagen finished second, but it realistically it wasn't a great season.
Yeah,
and they lost 10 out of the 36, which isn't great. But I mean, this season they're fourth at the moment, and that was after their win yesterday. Well, actually, no, they would have been fourth regardless. But it's brought them a bit closer because they're Aarhus and Brøndby both lost. So I mean, the season in Denmark's a bit weird. I mean, it's similar to the Scottish season in that they play each other once, and then once that's happened, because it's only a league of 12 teams. So they play the 22 games. Yeah, 11, isn't it? 22 games. And then it splits off into two groups of 6.
Yeah.
So then you have a Champions championship group and a relegation group.
Yeah.
So then I guess that's a bit more fair for the lesser teams.
So how many times do they play each other then when those two groups are made?
So then after that, then they play each other twice again.
Oh, right, okay. And then whoever finished, because is it the top two of the championship group, they then qualify for Europe?
So the top team qualifies for the Champions League qualifiers. So they don't, because Danish coefficient isn't highest, they don't get into the automatics or anything like that. So they have to qualify. I guess it's like Scotland again. I mean, I guess really it's probably a good comparison. The Danish football and Scottish football is probably similarly placed, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, the top three get European spots, but it's Europa League playoffs and then Europa League qualifiers, and so it's.
And then the bottom two of the relegation group end up getting relegated. We'll see.
Well, yeah. So the bottom team gets automatically relegated.
Right.
Although
the second bottom then in the playoffs with the lower division then or something.
The top team enters the Champions League in the second qualifying round. Second place team enters the Europa League in the first qualifying round, and then the third place team goes to a one-off playoff match for another Europa League's place.
Right. Okay.
And then if the winner of the Danish Cup finishes in the top three, the match will instead involve the fourth place team. So then this Europa League qualifier, whoever finishes top of the relegation group goes into that Europa League qualifier against the third place team from the championship group. So I think it's to give the lesser teams a bit of a chance to get into Europe.
Yeah.
I knew it was something like that, and I just couldn't work out exactly. But yeah. So
that's quite a good
last
idea.
Season, it was, yeah. So last season, Aarhus came third. And then because of, as I said, they shortened the season. They shortened the teams. There was 2 relegation groups last year. So then OB and Sunderski played one game, and Horsens and Randers played another. And then the winner of that played a game, and then the winner of that game played Aarhus to get into Europe. But then I think Aarhus got into Europe anyway. So it was
okay.
Yeah. But so as you can probably tell by the fact that they are all qualifying matches, the Danish teams in Europe aren't the greatest.
No.
They haven't got very far. I think Brøndby are the team that's done the best. I think they got to the semi-finals of the Europa League. Or I think it might have even been the UEFA Cup back then.
Yeah.
But that's the highest place the Danish team has come.
Yeah.
Which is quite mad, as I said, when you look at the success of Copenhagen, the fact that they've won the amount of trophies they've won. They've won 13 titles, and they've rarely got out of the group stages of Europa League.
Yeah.
It's not very good.
Because I've got to hear that they sort of have reached the group stage of the Champions League 4 times, and then the round of 16 once in 2010-11, and I think the quarters in the Europa League in last season, I believe it was. Was that last season? Yeah, when they lost to Man United, and a typical 95th minute Bruno Fernandes penalty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, this season it was even worse. They didn't even get through. They played Rijeka, I think, Croatian, maybe Rijeka. And they got knocked out to an absolutely abysmal own goal. You can find footage of it. It's such a poor own goal to concede.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, that basically sealed the fate of Solbakken leaving as well.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, we can talk about Solbakken if you want. He I mean, he arguably, well, not even arguably, he is Copenhagen's greatest ever manager.
Right.
I mean, they won 8 titles under him, which is 8 out of 13 is that's a ridiculously high number.
Yeah.
He had two spells here. He went to Wolves in between that. Didn't do very well at Wolves at all. I mean that's definitely the lasting memory of an Englishman, of Stella Solbakken, I think, of his Wolves team. But him and Copenhagen seemed to be a perfect fit, really. But I think, with how things ended last season, being 14 points off the top, and then at the start of this season, I mean, they won 2 games at the start of the season before he got sacked. It wasn't good enough.
Right.
And, there is obviously some loyalty that should be held in football, which is ironic coming from a Watford fan, of course. We'll get through managers like nobody's business.
Yeah.
But I think when Europe is important for finances as it is, you need to be a bit more consistent, and getting knocked out in playoff rounds all the time is not. I mean, they said last season got to where they did and got knocked out by United, and that's not, that's not terrible. But it needs to be better. So I mean, new manager, yes, Torp. Torp, I guess, would be in Danish. He's come in and he sort of changed the way they play. I mean, they were predominantly playing a 4-2-3-1 under Solbakken, but they've changed to a 4-3-1-2. So it's not massively different, but it is, and it's brought them a bit more structure, I guess.
Are they succeeding under this new guy, though? Because from the sounds of it, it sounds like they've slipped down the table a bit. Or
so certainly when he started, I mean, they lost the first 2 games when he came in, which wasn't great. But obviously, when you're coming in and changing things from a manager who's been there for so long, that's always going to be hard, isn't it? I think. As you will well know, when you've had a manager who's been there for years, no matter who comes in next, is always going to struggle.
He's having a new Emery moment, is he?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard, but after those 2, they went on quite a good run. I mean, in the 7 games after that, they won 6 and drew 1. In fact, actually. His record, he's lost, from what I can see here, he's lost 4 out of the 15 games that they've played. So that's actually not so bad.
That's pretty decent.
I think it's just because they were already quite far behind when he came in. So it's been quite a catch-up game for them. But they, some of the games they've lost they've lost to Randers twice, who aren't the greatest team. And then losing the derby against Bombay as well twice in one season has not been great. But last night they won 2-1 against Randers. So hopefully, I mean, it's going to be tough, I think, for them to get first place, especially as that's Mid-Jutland again. They're again, it's how many points is that? 8 points. Sorry, they're 8 points ahead. But it can be done. There's obviously clubs that have turned around 8-point deficits before. But I think obviously the way that the group stages get the fact that they'll have to play the top teams again twice.
Yeah.
That might. I mean, hopefully they'll do all right. But it's going to be a slog for sure.
Yeah. If you're enjoying the Magic of, then you might enjoy our other podcasts. The Triple F Show is jam-packed with general football discussion. Under the Floodlights invites fans to talk about their favourite players and managers. And the Triple F Cinema is where guests and I review weird and wacky football films. Mid-Utland, I've seen them, and I think so many sort of English football fans have more or less become accustomed to what they would call Midgetland. Is that more or less an indication that they're currently the best team in Denmark right now?
I mean, you could say they are, but I think the fact that Copenhagen have still won titles, basically since 2015, it's been either Copenhagen or Midtjylland. So I mean, Midtjylland only won their first one in 2015.
Yeah.
So they've sort of had a rise. I mean, that's because of the way that, I think they got taken over, and the guy that took them over has really, put a lot of stuff into the scouting infrastructure and stuff. So the way that they're playing, I mean, it's again, as we said, the fact that Brentford are doing a very similar thing. I know they've been unlucky, really, not getting into the Premier League.
Yeah.
But you can see definitely similarities in the way that they're running, obviously, because there is similarities.
Yeah.
But it's a very steady way of doing things. But yeah, I mean, as I said, the fact that Copenhagen and them have won the same amount of titles in 6 years, I think it being the biggest club, I mean, Copenhagen are the most successful Superliga team. There's always going to be, when a new kid comes on the block, it's always going to be hard. And, you'll always want the success that you should have. But I mean, as we said, like finishing second, that's not for a lot of clubs. That's not a bad thing.
No,
but I think the fact that if you come 14 points behind, when they're quite short seasons, really, that's a big gap. So I don't know.
Because I imagine in terms of how the sort of board of Copenhagen see things, is that they're probably not expecting European success. That's going to be a little bit out of their reach.
I think that's definitely out of the reach.
But at least sort of competing domestically, that's sort of what they expect, and that's kind of fair enough to sort of understand that as well.
Definitely. I mean, the crazy thing is, you could argue, like, obviously, if you get into the Champions League, there's more money, right? But the Champions League qualifiers are definitely going to be harder on paper than the Europa League qualifiers.
Yeah.
So then you got to think, which is actually better, like a solid run in the Europa League, because if you lose in the qualifiers of the Champions League, that's it, right? You don't. I don't believe you get into Europa League after that, do you? So it's. You gotta. I don't know. What's the easier option?
That's true. That is a twisted rule of Champions League. Like I don't see how you should sort of reward failure in a sense, but
yeah, definitely. No, especially in the.
I'm saying that as an Arsenal fan because Europa League is our bread and butter, and then you get the Champions League dregs coming in to make it harder for us.
Yeah. I mean, recently it's been a bit crap because it's Ajax and stuff have been coming through, and I mean, as you can tell, I don't really watch too much European football. Being a Watford fan, it's not on my radar too much, to be honest. No. But it's obviously you see that these bigger, more established teams from Europe coming in. I mean, just look at United. They had no right really being there, but there we go.
Yeah, that's another argument for another day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Best Copenhagen players. Let's get into that one.
Absolutely. So it's realistically, from what I've looked at, I think it's a guy called Sibusiso Zuma.
I saw that. It was a commentator's nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah. So we'll just call him Zuma.
Yeah.
South African player. He's in the Copenhagen Hall of Fame, or the Legends. Even has his own statue. It's not really a statue though; it's more of a plaque, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's commemorating his overhead goal that he scored.
Oh, I saw that on YouTube. My goodness,
it's
what a goal!
It's a beautiful goal. Yeah, beautiful goal.
Yeah.
But it was that was a very special goal. Purely twofold, really. It was in the penultimate game of the season against Brøndby, which I guess we haven't really discussed. There's three sort of big teams in Copenhagen. Well, two big teams and one lesser team. But there's obviously Copenhagen, Brøndby, and then there's Lyngby as well.
Right.
Lyngby, from my understanding, are sort of like the West Brom, of Danish football.
Yeah.
Going between the top two divisions.
Right.
But I mean, Brøndby have been around since the 60s. They're more of the working man's club, I guess, would be the way they see themselves. And they're total different sides of Copenhagen. But
right.
They have the Copenhagen Derby, although all the media tries to call it the new firm. Right. But it's just called the Copenhagen Derby, or the Battle of Copenhagen, I believe.
Right.
It is
okay.
also called. So that was it was a derby, the penultimate game, and Copenhagen ended up winning 3-1.
Nice.
And that goal was the goal to make it 2-0, which obviously 2-0 is always a dangerous score. Yeah. Not a bad goal at all. But even though it didn't win the league, it essentially did, because then Copenhagen it went into the next game and won that, which won them the league. And that was special because that was the first time they'd won the league since the year they came into football. So the fact they won the first season that they were formed in 92-93, and then to go 8 years without winning. I guess you sort of, as a fan, you probably felt, you're right, this is it, this is us now. We're here, we're going to win every year. It's brilliant. But and then obviously not. I think Brøndby had quite a bit of a success in between there. But for that goal, as you said, is absolutely smashing. But his kids just joined the youth team as well over here in Copenhagen, so that should be one. We'll see whether he's as good as his dad, but
it might be a Johan Cruyff, Jordi Cruyff situation, or it could be an Haaland situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like Watford. We've just got Mitchell Bergkamp, haven't we? And,
right.
We'll see whether he's any good. But,
big shoes to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that season as well, the 2000-2001 season. I know we're talking about players, but that was actually Roy Hodgson. He came in to manage that season. He was meant to be here for 2, but Udinese came calling. And there was quite a big furore, a bit of a to-do, because his contract was a non-breakable contract, which didn't know they existed in football, but there you go.
It was breakable as well, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he ended up having to pay Copenhagen some money, I believe, or Udinese did. But I mean, that season, Zuma's come out and said himself that for the first bit that he was there, that Hodgson was there, he didn't even bother training with the attackers. But that was purely because he knew that they needed to sort their defense out.
Right.
So he spent a good while training with the defenders, and then he slowly incorporated the midfielders, and then eventually the attackers. But I mean, clearly he did a good job, because the run they went on towards the end of that season was just phenomenal. And yeah, to beat your rivals 3-1, that's always good.
Yeah,
but I think you look at that season, and it set the standard going forward for sure. Because I mean, after that, in a 21 year, or it'll be 21 years this season, but in a 20-year period, they've won 12 seasons out of 20.
Nice.
And that's crazy. I think, we all, as Englishmen, we always laugh at Roy Hodgson. But I think what he brought to Copenhagen, the a bit of a winning mentality, oddly, which we don't really think about these days. I mean, but I guess Crystal Palace, they're trying to be defense first and slowly get the attack right. But it's funny that, I don't think Copenhagen would be as successful as they are had Hodgson not been there. Which is a very weird thing to think.
But
yeah, it was a bit weird. But yeah, definitely Zuma, I think, would be he's definitely a fan favorite for sure.
Yeah, because I'm seeing as well, there's quite a few Premier League players that are more or less featured highly for Copenhagen.
Breda Hangeland is obviously one of them.
Andreas Cornelius as well, who actually over here for Copenhagen, he had 2 spells. And he's quite a high goal scorer for him, and has done well. But obviously, he went to Cardiff. I think he had quite a bit of injury issues, didn't he, over there? So it never really worked. I do remember him coming over, and there was quite a big, what's the word? Quite a bit of anticipation for what he could do. And yeah, it never really happened. But then he came back and did well. I mean, Jesper Grønkjær as well. He retired over here. That was after he'd been over in Birmingham and Chelsea.
So he must have been quite old when he came back then, Grønkjær.
Yeah, I think he definitely was. I mean,
he had a blinder in his sort of late years.
Yeah. Well, some players do, don't they? They're just some players.
Canute springs to mind, like in his 30s, going to Sevilla and then just absolutely smashing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kanu as well. He was always probably over 30 when he started playing anyway. So it's...
he's the perfect example.
Yeah. Zahora as well. He's currently at West Brom. But he was Copenhagen's youngest ever goal scorer. He's also the Danish Superliga's youngest ever player. And he was like 16 when he started playing. But yeah, I mean, he was at Cardiff as well, wasn't he? I think Zahor.
Yeah.
Christian Poulsen.
Yep, Christian Poulsen as well.
Liverpool fans might remember him, although he was only there for like a sort of season.
Obviously had more success at Ajax and Seville. I mean, Liverpool have a lot of those type of players that are only there for one season and no one actually remembers them.
Especially in that time.
When would that have been? I can't remember when he was there.
I think it was around the same time as like Voronin and stuff, or might have been before that.
2010, 2011. So yeah, that would have been Jesus. That would have been. Would that have been Dalglish? Would that have been?
Dalglish or Hodgson, was it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If it was Hodgson, it would sort of make sense because he'd have been there. Although he would have just left, but he'd have been there when Hodgson was at Copenhagen. So that link would have made sense for sure.
Roy Hodgson was there 2010. So
so that would have been the link then, wouldn't it?
Yeah. My God, the amount of clubs Roy Hodgson's managed.
It's crazy, isn't it? Apparently, the reason they looked to bring him in was because he had like Scandinavian managerial history, because obviously he'd been in Sweden, hadn't he?
Yeah.
But he came from Grasshopper, I believe, when he came to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, it very, very good signing for him. Sometimes you just need the right manager, don't you? And then things go well. Because there is a manager, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but when I was looking through the stats and stuff, there was a manager for Copenhagen who only lasted one game. He came in, lost that, and I think the board were like, maybe we made a mistake here.
I thought Brian Clough's tenure at Leeds United was short.
Not good. I mean, I think Watford did something similar with Billy McKinley. Told him he'd got the manager job, actually meant caretaker manager. Miscommunication, and then he left in a bit of a huff. But yeah.
Oh man, that's no good.
Like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube, do all that shit, please.
Dame Ndoye, he's their highest all-time goal scorer.
Yeah, he's I mean, he's been brilliant for him. He came back for a second spell, but now he's left. Just injury issues, unfortunately. But I mean, when he was back, I think he scored nearly 20 goals. Might have even been 20 goals the season he did come back. I guess not a similar player, but I'd imagine he's sort of like the Troy Deeney to Copenhagen. A bit of a talisman. Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, he scored, I think, 90 goals, which again isn't, when you look at some of the top goal scorers, it's not mad, but it's a good amount of goals.
Yeah, relatively speaking, it's a good achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think it's a shame that he had to leave because of injuries. There was no point renewing the contract just because he missed so many games. But yeah, I mean, looked all right.
Sounds like he was a perfect sort of example of when a player fits at a club, because I think he did quite well at Lokomotiv Moscow, but nowhere near as well as he did at Copenhagen.
No, and didn't do very well at Hull either, Hull City.
No, he was on loan at Sunderland for a bit as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he played Sunderland.
But no, he didn't do well for Hull at all.
No, not at all. But yeah, I think Copenhagen, just the way he fit with Copenhagen. I think it was just a good match for sure. You get that with players, don't you? Like some players just need to go back to where they came from. Like Danny Ings, didn't have the greatest time at Liverpool at all. But I'd say he's a bloody good striker.
Yeah.
But it's just where it's the surroundings, and you could argue that maybe like the Copenhagen lifestyle, but it worked well for sure.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, some of the names, like as I said, like Thomas Delaney as well, now at Dortmund. I think he only had 2 seasons here. But still, I think he won in both those seasons. won the league in both those seasons. But he's being at Dortmund. That's a great thing. I actually remember when Watford were rumored to be in for him.
Yeah.
But that obviously never happened. But talking of Watford, one of my favourite players growing up, Alan Nielsen.
Cool.
Yeah, played for Watford and Tottenham, obviously.
Yeah.
I think he won the League Cup with Tottenham. But yeah, he was here for a season or two. He was the club captain, and then moved to Brøndby, which is a big no-no.
Sol Campbell.
Yeah, definitely. So it's I don't know how much Copenhagen fans like him,
Probably
but
not
as a Watford fan, I like him. So that's that's fine.
That's cool.
Yeah,
just going back to Delaney, it kind of reminds me a little bit with Iron Robin in the sense that didn't feature that much for Copenhagen and for Groningen respectively, but it's almost like they're one of their own is sort of representing the club when they're out there playing for the likes of Dortmund or Real Madrid.
Actually, you know what? He actually won five championships, not the two. Delaney actually did quite well.
Okay, I'd say he probably did better than what Iron Robin did. But
no, he did good. I didn't realise that.
Oh wow!
But yeah, he did. He had a good season, couple of seasons there. Or a couple, 5 seasons.
But he came through the academy, did he?
Yeah, came through the youth academy, which there's quite a few of those type of players. Which in when you're that sort of club, you have to rely on, because you're never going to be able to get the big transfers.
No,
as a team like Copenhagen, because you can't afford it, and B, the Danish league obviously isn't the highlight of everyone's career. Obviously, some people it would be, and if I were to play football, great, Danish, absolutely get me in the Danish league. But at the moment there's players like Jonas Wind, Durami, I think his name was, and they're both Copenhagen boys. And they're coming through the team. I mean, Jonas Wind scored 11 goals. And he's 22, so he's looking like a decent player. Out of the current team, you'd probably think he's the one that would go on to get the next big move. Which, similar to Ajax, a club like Copenhagen needs to sell, which is a shame. It is a shame that you're never going to get too much stability that way.
No.
But
you might as well make the most of it whilst you're bleeding them through, shall we say? Oh
yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly I believe this is the first proper season he's had, like where he's been given consistent game time. But I mean, talking about Ajax, we've got Victor Fischer up front as well, or sort of on the wing. But he won 2 leagues with Ajax, and he's come in with Wind at the top, and they seem to be doing quite well together. I mean, the attacking, the way, like watching the game yesterday, the way that the attacking is sort of flowing, it looks decent. It's just whether that falls apart in the midfield or not. And they seem to be getting caught out a lot on sort of set pieces and stuff like that. But
maybe with a bit of time, because it's still like a fairly new manager, isn't he? So
definitely. I mean, I think he's, as I said about the new manager, I've got it here. He's at 1.72 points per game. Which seems quite decent. But I mean, he won actually the Superliga with Midtjylland.
Yeah.
So he's definitely got experience of being, a highly rated manager in Denmark. So hopefully he can bring success to Copenhagen. As I said, I don't think this season will be the season for that. But
so did that manager leave Midtjylland to go to Copenhagen?
No, it's quite funny. He was at Ghent
in Belgium,
and then he moved to Genk.
right.
But he was only at Genk for 2 months before he came to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So I think Copenhagen must have been looking at him for a while.
Yeah.
You don't go after a manager who's only been at a club for 2 months unless you really want him.
No.
So then you could probably imagine they'd been keeping tabs on him for a little while. So yeah, I mean that if you were a Genk supporter, you'd be a bit pissed off, wouldn't you? The new manager. Oh, he's gone already.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, I think just got to give managers a bit of time sometimes. I mean, again, as a Watford fan, we don't do that, and I probably was a bit on the side of like with Xisco for Watford at the moment. He didn't have the greatest start at all.
No.
And I'll put my hands up now. I definitely was of the opinion that we needed to get rid of him. But what do I know? I'm just a fan.
Exactly.
But yeah,
turn things around now, isn't he?
Yeah, big time. And hopefully Torp. I'm going to call him Torp. Hopefully he can. He's doing all right now. I think it definitely. We'll see what Copenhagen are made of with this, the split of the divisions. We'll see what they're capable of.
I think a perfect example of giving a manager time and just sort of allowing the patience for them to get better is a club that I covered for the Magic of episode is St. Pauli. With St. Pauli, their manager Timo Schultz, it's crazy because they were languishing down in the bottom for up until December. They were second from bottom, I think at points even bottom of the league. And now they're actually 8th in the league. It's crazy. They've had an absolute turnaround. It's mental how much they've absolutely turned it around. And there's 18 teams. There's not 12 teams. So it shows you how much of how much of an improvement that manager's put into the team. So it goes to show that you should allow patience with managers as long as there's some sort of signs of progression. There's some glimmers of hope. Then you should at least stick with a manager. But it's one of those the trickiest things in football, really, isn't it? Knowing whether to stick with a manager or essentially pulling the trigger. It's difficult.
Definitely. I mean, I think historically, as I said, like Copenhagen have got a tradition of being sort of patient. Obviously, to a degree. And as we said, all clubs, it's hard. It is hard when you have ambitions that you don't feel are being met, like with any European success. It's. But hopefully he can move on and do good things. Talking about moving on, segue. So when you think of Carlsberg, you think of Copenhagen or Liverpool. It depends on how you want to think of it.
I think of Saturday nights.
Carlsberg's so cheap here.
Imagine.
And actually, Danish Carlsberg is actually all right. It's not the English crap that you get from Northampton. It's Carlsberg are actually gonna not be the main shirt sponsor next season.
Oh, right.
Which would be quite I don't know. It's like when Liverpool lost Carlsberg. It's quite a big thing, isn't it? Like when you think of sponsors, like
Mm.
it's for me, it sounds silly, but for me, Arsenal's always JVC.
Yeah.
I know that was years ago, but still.
But yeah, I mean, if when Arsenal do move on from having Emirates on their kit, that's
because been a long standing, isn't it? Yeah. But I mean, Carlsberg have been on the shirt since '99, and they're moving on. But Betway, is it Betway? Unibet, Unibet are coming in and going on. So unfortunately, it's yet another club with a betting.
How that's going to go down with the fans.
Well, yeah, I think Carlsberg are sticking around. I think a big part of it was that they wanted to focus on the fans a bit more. So, they're gonna.
So they're putting a betting sponsor there.
Yeah, but no, yeah, that's Copenhagen though, isn't it? But Carlsberg are they're putting their money into opening a fan village, which will go alongside one of the main stands in Parken. And it will be open before games and after games, and they'll have like events there and stuff. So that will be like Carlsberg's thing now. It looks, from what I've seen of the plans and stuff like that, it looks like it will be quite a good pre-match event. I don't know about you, like when I'm going to football, I always have my same traditions, go to the same burger van, the same match day program seller. But obviously, as I haven't been to a Copenhagen game yet, when this opens, it's meant to open in September alongside the new season. Hopefully, I'll be able to make that as part of my new tradition. But it looks like it'll be quite a good thing. I mean, at least Carlsberg are trying to still stick with the club, just going in a different direction. But yeah, it's a shame. I mean, we can always talk about the moralities of shirt sponsors being betting companies, but I think it is a shame that it's a bit of a plague on the football society, really.
Well, it's probably low on the list of negative aspects of football, but
at the moment.
If you like football films, then come check out the Triple F Cinema, where I'm joined by guests, sometimes football fans, sometimes not, to review a specific football film.
Give me 2 tickets to that football film right now.
Notice, and I forgot to mention this, a player that's currently playing for the moment, which most sort of Premier League fans will recognise, Brian Oviedo.
Of course, yeah. I mean, obviously at Everton. Was he at Sunderland as well? I think it was, wasn't he?
He was even in the that. I thought it was a really good documentary.
I never watched it. Watched it.
Really? Oh man, you should. It's brilliant. It's excellent. Although the best of those sort of TV series documentaries is the Leeds United one. Like you have to watch that if you're going to watch any of them. That's brilliant. But the Sunderland one was really good as well.
No, there's a player at Sunderland called Luke O'Nien. I think he was quite predominant in that TV show, but he came through Watford's academy. And I remember having a chat with him when.
It seemed like a really nice guy, actually.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It was the first season that we got promoted. Oh, no, sorry. The first season the Pozzos came in, so 2012. And he was just coming through, sort of, when players come through the academy and they're on the bench and featuring a couple of friendlies. And I had a chat with him outside, and I was like, because Zola had played him in at centre half. I was like, oh, is that somewhere where you want to be playing? And he's just like, no, like wherever Zola wants me to play, I'm absolutely buzzing to be playing there. And you know, he's had an absolute off topic, but I saw on Twitter just before I joined the call this weekend. I think he blocked a goal bound shot by sort of flopping into the ball, but like putting his body on the line completely. But
I think they love him up there, don't they, in Sunderland? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think players that have found a club that works for them completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Oviedo. I think it's just the typical Oviedo that we saw at Everton, just gets on with it. Yeah, another player that we haven't mentioned that you would have an interest in being Lord Bentner.
Did he play for Copenhagen?
Yeah, I think he had a season towards the end. Let me just check.
The greatest player in the world at one time.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got his own TV show out at the moment.
He has. It's advertised. It's advertised all over the place. But I don't watch it.
Yeah, I haven't got the craving to watch that.
No, not at all. 2019. He was at Copenhagen just for the one season. Played 6 games. Didn't score any goals. He got 1 goal in the National Cup and the version of the FA Cup. That didn't last very long. He's now playing for Tornby, which is it's like a part of Copenhagen.
Okay.
It's just playing for I guess the equivalent of like Leighton Orient or something like that, I guess.
Yeah.
It competes in the 4th tier of the Danish. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. But yeah, he definitely Denmark's greatest ever export.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. What a character he was.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting fined for wearing a pair of pants.
Yeah, I mean, when sort of racist incidents are getting a hell of a lot less punishment, and then that's getting more. It's like
it's crazy.
Just shows you what's wrong with football. But
I mean, it's crazy that again this weekend we've seen it with Valencia and Cadiz.
Yeah. It's like I said in the tweet, like it shouldn't be down to the players anymore. Like it's got too far. Like this needs to be sorted out by the officials, but it's clear they're not, and that's it's sickening, really.
Well, it's worrying that if Valencia hadn't come back on the pitch, they'd have been docked 3 points.
Yeah, like what the F and hell is that all about? Like,
that's potentially more of a punishment than the financial fine Cadiz will get.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Crazy.
Hopefully, I'd say all La Liga, Premier League, every sort of football governing body needs to sit down at the end of this season. Well, actually, they need to sit down right now, but knowing how things are, they usually like to leave things, sort of in between seasons to sort things out and to change rules. They need to do something. They need to do it drastically. So let's hope.
I mean, I think it's crazy as well because it's so like this incident in particular. The microphones have picked it up. But the Cadiz player he's denying it all. He said, "No, I not quite the Slavia Prague guy. Oh, what a guy!"
Yeah.
But he's saying he said something along those lines. It was like, "Oh, leave me alone," or some bollocks like that. But it's just it's the fact that they can have this moment where they happily say what they want to say, and then there's no repercussion. Not even. He's asked people to apologize to him. Like that's the crazy thing. Yeah. And obviously at this time we still don't know whether that he did say it, but I think it's very unlikely that he did not say it. But I don't know. It's a sad state of affairs at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, even if there's not, speaking about that Slavia Prague, because obviously we've got them coming up as well, and that guy's been suspended for the game this Thursday against us, which is not enough in my opinion, but at least it's something. But
it's probably the greatest thing Gareth Bale's done in a long time as well, wasn't it? Did you see his elbow on him in the Wales game?
No, I didn't. But
no, so Wales played the Czech Republic, didn't they? And Bale looked around and proper twatted him in the head.
Yeah. But if you can't kick racism out, at least elbow.
Yeah, elbow it. Yeah,
that'll do it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Give racism the people's elbow.
That's a good one. But I just think that whether there was any recording of what actually happened and whether it was actually picked up on the microphone is irregardless to an investigation. I'm watching crime TV all the time at the moment, and there's so many investigations that are successful on little evidence. They can do it. You can make a solid investigation with little evidence. And that hocus pocus bullshit of that player saying what he said instead of what he really said. Come on, you shouldn't be accepting that, and there should just be harder lines drawn. But whether that's going to happen or not is I don't know.
I mean, I think it's interesting as well to see that players like Wilfried Zaha are now getting. I think it's a shame to see. I mean, it's good to see how he wants to express how he wants to express it. That's great. But it's a shame now that the message is there's several different camps on it now. And I think the main reason because of that is because no action has been taken.
Yeah, exactly.
Players have been doing this now for it must be a year now, right? Pretty much. And nothing has happened. It's crazy.
There's apathy. Apathy creates nothing but division and chaos, and that's where we are, my friend.
But you got to keep politics out of football.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing as well. Like, how can this be dressed as politics as well? Like, just not throwing or spewing racist abuse. How is that a political thing? It's just a matter of right and wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, everything that is against not your point of view, but the greater your point of view is political, right? It's crazy.
I think we'll be scratching our heads and banging our heads against the wall for quite some time. So
definitely
strap yourselves in for the ride, guys.
Yeah, man, big time. It's
But is there anything else you wanted to touch on with FCK? How do you pronounce the letters differently? FC.
I was trying to think about this earlier. FCK. I can't remember whether K is K or Co.
Okay.
So whether it would be FC Co.
Yeah, because in Dutch it would be FCK.
So similar. FC.
They're not a Dutch team, so.
No. But for me now, like Copenhagen, saying Copenhagen sounds unnatural to me now.
It's the same as me saying Groningen. That's not.
Groningen. Yeah. No, it is funny, isn't it? Like all these places that.
But then I would feel weird saying Paris instead of Paris.
That is one. Yeah. But saying Copenhagen is second nature to me now. But it's but there's some of the places here are a bit hard to pronounce.
It's the same in Dutch, man.
I can imagine you've probably got it worse. At least mine's a bit phonetically similar, so that's okay. But it's some of the words are difficult. But
tell me about it.
Language is a beautiful thing, unless it's used to spout racist nonsense.
Hey, that was like a wordsmith.
Yeah, there we go. But no, other than I'm absolutely desperate to get to a game. But that's and you know what? Hopefully, if I can get to a game, then we can have a separate conversation about that. That would be good.
Yeah, definitely, man.
A day at a match. That would be good.
Well, I mean, one of my early plans of Triple F was to sort of go to as many games as possible, and that's why I'm quite grateful of being in Groningen at the moment, because it's basically in the middle of all these brilliant places that I can go. I can go to Germany, Belgium, France.
I was going to say you're close to the Dortmund, Schalke, sort of that area, right?
Yeah,
you must be close to.
But yeah, I'm hoping to at some point I'll maybe come up and visit you and
absolutely.
Watch a game with you, man. That would be cool.
Always welcome. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be cool. But it seems like such a distant, distant dream at the moment.
It's been such a long time, isn't it? It's. I mean, I'd been pretty bad at watching football when I was, but that's just because working in the cinema. Obviously, the times are hard to get to football.
Yeah, I know all about that.
I think my last game I went to was Brendan Rodgers' first game in charge of Leicester when Watford played them, which is a long time ago. But yeah, it's so annoying. Desperate to watch football. Absolutely desperate.
Yeah. No, tell me about it.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. We'll get back to it, man. Right, my friend. I'm gonna have to shoot off. But
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to the Triple F. If you could please drop a like on our Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter, that would be massively appreciated. Hope you're all keeping safe, and thanks again for listening to the Triple F.